Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, are on track to do fewer interviews and press conferences than any major party's presidential pairing in modern U.S. history, according to Axios. Former President Trump and J.D. Vance have done over 70 interviews, while Harris and Walz have participated in just 7, per Axios. Vance alone has done more than 7 times as many interviews and press conferences as Harris and Walz combined. And some close to the campaign say it's not by accident. Harris's team believes that limiting her interactions with the press is a winning strategy. Axios reports that the Harris campaign believes Trump and Vance draw a lot more negative attention with the additional interviews than they do. For example, J.D. Vance's comments about childless cat ladies or the Haitian migrants eating pets saga. Plus, Biden was able to defeat Trump in 2020 with his own very limited press strategy. The Harris campaign pushed back, insisting Harris and Walz have been interviewed by a range of media outlets where they often answer tough questions about important issues facing Americans.
Meanwhile, CNN's Dana Bash said it's not just quantity of the interviews, but the quality of the conversation. Let's watch.
When you listen to Kamala Harris on what she will do, you can almost start a drinking game every time she says small businesses. Let me give you an example.
Part of my plan under my economic opportunity plan going forward is that right now, startup entrepreneurs, small businesses only get a tax deduction of $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So I'm expanding that to $50,000. Understanding, again, that when people have the opportunity to have the resources to get started, they're going to put the good ideas, they're going to put the hard work into it.
Describe the politics of that.
When she says that, she also talks about being a middle-class kid. That's also at the front of her answers. If you look at the interviews they've been doing with local media, and they've opened up a bit more since the debate, the first question is often, what are you going to do to lower prices? Which is a very hard question for an incumbent party to answer. And it has implications that are very Trumpian. It is, Trump says he's going to do mass deportation. That'll decrease demand. Trump says he'll explore more energy. That'll decrease energy costs. Democrats can point to the fact that inflation is actually, it was bad 2 years ago. It's not now. What people want to hear is, how do you make the prices go down? So everything she says is something realistic that could survive a fact check that answers a very hard question. There is not a plan to say that we're going to lower the cost of your grocery bill to what it was in 2019. There was a pandemic. There was a money supply inflation. You can't hit the button that makes that go away. But Trump has an answer that gets him through these questions. And Harris, I think, with a different set of incentives and a different relationship to something she can back up in a policy paper, she doesn't have an answer. So she goes to a larger, well, imagine a future where there are more businesses and this starts to ameliorate.
Market-driven answers.
I just wish I would hear more of them because, as we've just tallied, she does not do a lot of interviews. And maybe that is a winning strategy. Maybe the winning strategy is to not even have just a democracy or a Democratic primary. Just have your candidate forced on you by Democratic elites and their media allies, and then have that candidate do no press so we are confused sufficiently about what they actually believe in, and happen to be running against someone who is very unpopular, and it might be enough.
Listen, it's a fair point, and she has yet to answer. The campaign is not coming out with some sort of response. It could be a behind-the-scenes, insiders give some sort of exclusive to some reporter to explain what their strategy is. From my perspective, I see that they're speaking to very specific constituencies. We are in, this is the time when they have to be talking to voters directly. And we know mainstream media, not as many folks are tuning in, and they really want to get young people out, so they're doing more TikToks, they're doing more direct interview. It's not the traditional interview. And I know Dana Bash is annoyed, and I know a lot of the mainstream reporters are used to having access, but this is a different type of election. Also, letting Donald Trump talk. That is another part of their strategy. They loved it during the debate. They wanted those mics open. They wanted him to go off and on his rants, which he still did.
Kamala Harris wanted that.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Because
she wanted to be interrupted by him. She'd rather, I mean, is that an indictment, though, when you'd rather the other candidate talk than you talk?
Well, because he's reminding the country, for those who might just be tuning into this election, whoever you people are, is reminding the country of who this man is and what's at stake.
No, the only segments we do here that I don't want to talk during are ones where I think the point I have to make is pretty weak. So it shows a lack of faith in your own persuasiveness or your vision that your strategy is zip it, let him talk.
Well, because he drives his negatives up. The more he talks, the more people
know.
understand just how unhinged his policies are, how unhinged he is, and how he's just going to continue to drive instability in this country. Doesn't mean she wasn't good in the debate. She, of course, spoke in the debate. She is talking to voters. She's just talking them directly through rallies, events, and now social media. You kind of can bypass the media. I'm not saying it's good as somebody who's
Well, I
worked in
don't know.
journalism.
Bypass the mainstream media. I agree with that. I don't have any problem with them going past mainstream media to just speak on social media or just ignoring the pomp and ceremony of.
Right.
Yeah, that's all fine if it's in the service of actually. But we would like to see some, if you're just blasting out statements or just doing rallies, you're not getting adversarial questioning. J.D. Vance gets adversarial questioning all the time. He does these interviews.
He does.
They attack him for not tying his shoes correctly.
Well, they attack him for saying stupid things.
Well, sure,
policies.
fine. But do they attack Kamala for that? They don't get the opportunity
They do. They're
to.
attacking her all day long. Everybody's attacking her for not doing press and about her economic plan, which she keeps reiterating. Donna Bash said, oh, she just keeps saying the same thing over and over. Yeah, welcome to a campaign. You have to repeat your message so people, the voters, hear it. Because not every voter is watching the news all day long. They're tuning in maybe once a week. They're checking their Twitter. And she has to get it through. You have to repeat your message during a campaign. I'm sorry, Dana Bash, you may not like it, but that's how campaigns are run. They want to be on the inside. They want to have access. You know how access journalism is. They're all complaining because they're not getting a seat on the plane, or they're on the plane and they're not able to answer questions. It'll happen when she's president for sure. But right now, she needs to hit voters, and she's doing it in whatever way their campaign thinks is savviest. But they do have to get rid of this narrative that she is not communicating her plans to the public when she is.
Well, it's because she is not known for being a good communicator,
Because
right?
the press has made it that way. They've cut up clips of her.
What? Okay, now you're gonna say that that's deep fake stuff? No,
Well, some
those
of it
were.
is a little. They cut. How many times do you say the wrong thing on TV or
All the time.
All the
I speak
time.
for 3 hours on TV every day.
Literally,
It
you
happens.
get exhausted. That's normal.
Well-
So they take a few of those and they blow it out of proportion. And I think they're afraid of also having the Hillary situation where she is. People are loving her right now, right? The second the press starts to chip away at her.
Well, that's her job.
It's her job
Their
when
job
she's
is
not-
not
it's
to
not her
help.
job.
It's their job. It's not their
Yeah.
job to help get her elected. It's
I agree.
to manifest totally false positive vibes for the least scrutinized major political figure in modern history.
I agree that reporters, that is their job, and they should be trying to ask questions. But I also think reporters don't understand what her job is. Her job is not to just answer their questions whenever. Her job is to go there and talk to voters so she wins. There's a communication issue between the two right now.
No, she's certainly trying to win, and this might be a winning strategy. I just find it to be an indictment of the process and her. If the winning strategy is her to zip it, let Trump talk, and be elected on that basis, maybe it'll work.
I don't know.
It's going to be close either way. We'll find out. More Rising right after this.